GD is a gold-rated university by QS rankings, certified by QS for e-learning excellence by transforming classroom teaching to online platforms. Ranked number 1 in India among top emerging engineering and management institutes by Times of India. GD Goenka University, celebrating 25 years of excellence in education.
Good afternoon, viewers. I welcome you all to another exciting webinar session being hosted by Collegedunia in partnership with the GD Goenka University. The topic for discussion today is trends in global higher education and its relevance to India. And to discuss that and share their deep insights, we have with us an esteemed panel. Firstly, we have with us Professor Suku Bhaskaran. He is the president of GD Goenka University. Professor Bhaskaran has approximately 4 decades of global experience in teaching, research, and leadership roles in the higher education. Professor Bhaskaran has held senior full-time and visiting appointments in several institutions worldwide, including Gilbert Chandler College and Victoria University in Australia. Professor Bhaskaran has earned his PhD from Monash University, Australia, and BA in Economics from the University of Malaya. Both institutions are consistently ranked among the leading 70 universities globally. Professor Bhaskaran has contributed immensely to the academia by authoring as well as co-authoring more than 100 scholarly research articles, research monographs, books, chapters, and other research outputs. We welcome you, sir. Secondly, we have with us Professor Tabrez Ahmed. He is the Pro-Vice Chancellor and Dean for the School of Law, GD Goenka University. Professor Tabrez is a doctorate in cyber law and intellectual property rights from Aligarh Muslim University. He is a Pro-Vice Chancellor of GD Goenka University. He has held multiple positions. He was a Pro-Vice Chancellor for Golgotias before he joined GD Goenka. He has been instrumental in establishing and transforming the UPES University. He has practiced a while at the Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court of India. He too has authored the Cyber Law, E-Commerce and M-Commerce book and has been instrumental in publishing more than 100 research papers in highly reputed journals. We welcome you, sir. Now I would request Professor Bhaskaran to take the session forward.
Thank you very much, Shekhar, and the Collegedunia team for organizing this, and my co-panelist, Professor Tabrez Ahmed. I'm going to talk about internationalization, although we are in India, because of various reasons. The new education policy has just been launched by the government, and increasingly there is a trend towards internationalizing education and internationalizing education engagements with good quality universities worldwide. And the reason why I want to talk to this theme is that GD Goenka University is several notches ahead of our counterparts in India in regard to both adopting very high quality teaching learning practices, and I'll talk to these a bit later, and also to forming good quality international alliances. We've got a very long history, about 10 years, in developing good quality international alliances. So the first thing you need to take account of is that in the last 50 odd years, there have been several major developments in higher education. Many of these have not affected India in any substantive way. We were doing the same practice, whereas the others around us were moving up very rapidly. These winds of change are finally being felt in India with the passage of the new education policy in Parliament. Okay. I will discuss a couple of major trends and showcase how we at GD Goenka University have foreseen and got ready for these winds of change. So you'll be perhaps joining a university that has got faculty with extensive experience in modern teaching learning practices, modern modes of undertaking research, and modern modes of engaging with different universities. I myself, as the short introduction by Shekhar said, I've studied and also worked at Monash University. I have worked at Melbourne University's Gilbert Chandler College. I worked at Victoria University, all of these in Australia. I worked at Pennsylvania State University in the USA, is also a very highly ranked university. I've earned my first degree from the University of Malaya, which is ranked about 55 in the world, 55 or 56 in the world, just a few notches below Monash, that's all. So these exposures, this is my personal exposure, but several of our faculty members have somewhat similar or comparable experiences. Brings a lot to the teaching, learning, and research environment in a university. This is the difference compared to other universities. So this is a significant difference, I must say. Now, one of the big changes that has happened in higher education globally over the last 50 odd years is what I would term as the massification of higher education. Therefore, education in many advanced countries moved from an elitist or exclusive system to massification, i.e. providing access to higher education to more people. And this development started globally in about the 1970s to mid-1990s. And that's when this massification in higher education, that is making higher education available to a larger number of people, became important. And why did massification come about? Massification was a response to socio-economic development. As people's incomes and other things increased, there was this desire to get into higher education and the growing aspiration for degree-level formal qualifications by many individuals, particularly individuals from lower socio-economic strata and individuals who later in life wanted to return to study. So there were people who had gone out and started life work very early. Now they wanted to get back to higher education. So massification of education enabled that. And also massification of education was based on different modes of selection, and therefore more people could get into higher education. So massification entailed major changes, particularly in admissions, not being entirely based on performance in secondary school education and entrance exams in universities or national level selection criteria, but they started to accord credits for prior learning of various sorts. I was one of the persons who unfortunately was in the education system prior to massification. So I was in an era where they look at your grades. If you get a 90 or 95 in your school leaving, and if you pass the exam set by the university or the government, then only you qualify to enter university. Right? Just sort of the time after I had finished my education, it became much more broad-based, and it started to say that, look, your year 12, getting a 19 year 12 does not necessarily mean that you will add much to the community and your learning experience, but someone who gets 60 or something could perhaps outstrip you over the longer term. So lower grades were accepted for higher education. The second important change that happened was the introduction of degree level qualifications in a wide range of new disciplines, such as fashion and design, nursing, hospitality, architecture, etc. These were not part of the offerings of traditional universities. Right? So what we would describe as vocational qualifications also became part of a degree program. So you could get a degree in fashion and design, you could get a degree in nursing, you could get a degree in hospitality. This was not the case earlier. And we are well down the path in GD Goenka University of awarding degree level qualifications and these highly vocational programs. So, given the time limitations, it is difficult for me to speak to this in global terms. And maybe it's not even necessary to talk how things are done in the entire world. I will address this phenomena in the context of USA, UK, and Australia, the three major Anglophone countries. And I do this with a reason. I do this with a reason because, number one, these three countries are the major foreign education destinations for students from India. They will either go to the US, they'll go to the UK, or they'll go to Australia. These are the three major destinations. Number two, also importantly, these three countries account for a large number of highly ranked traditional universities, very highly ranked traditional universities. I was just looking today at the QS 2021 rankings, and you notice that mostly US universities, UK universities, and Australian universities. And they dominate the ranking in the top 100, 200 universities. Okay. This transformation to massification happened in these Anglophile countries when community colleges, polytechnics, and College of Advanced Education were granted what we describe as degree awarding powers. This happened in the 1970s and 1980s. In the case of UK and Australia, these were through changes from the incorporation of institutes of technology, colleges of advanced education, and polytechnics into the university system. So they were brought into the university system, and therefore now they could award degrees as opposed to diploma. This shift from elitism to massification education resulted in overwhelming numbers of students entering higher education. The proliferation of higher education institutions because of the conversion of polytechnics to universities and the emergence of new universities. So there was a great growth in the number of universities. Massification resulted in global enrollment in higher education growing from about 100 million worldwide in the year 2000, to nearly 200 million by 2020. So between 2000 and 2020, there was a growth of 120 million people worldwide who have got into higher education. So that's a very big number of people pursuing higher education. Now, when this happens, we can't just say that, oh, that's fine. There's a large number of people undertaking higher education, but we got to consider what will be the implications. The challenges that massification presented from the first was, one, availability of quality faculty and teaching learning resources, especially because many of these universities abroad are public universities, i.e. they are government universities, as opposed to private universities. Higher education in these Anglophile countries are predominantly in the public or government universities. In England, or UK for example, there are 125 public universities and only 5 private universities. So in England, only 6% of the total universities are run privately. And in Australia, there are 37 public universities and only 4 private universities. So you see, the private universities play a very small role in the education in the UK and UK and Australia. In the case of USA, it's somewhat 50-50. There are about 1,626 public universities and 1,686 private universities. However, the difference is that the vast majority of private universities are operated by charitable organizations or are funded through endowments by very rich people. In the case of India, things are very different. In 2020, for example, India has more than 1,000 universities. Of these, 334 are private universities. So more than 30% of universities in India are private universities of various quality. But the private universities play an important role in making education accessible to a lot of people. And especially in a case like us, we provide some unique strengths, and therefore you've got a very good choice of getting into private universities in India. And we had recognized this. For example, the massification of higher education has established what I would call different types of universities. So if you come in now, if you register with us now, in the 3, 4, or 5 years' time, when you are working towards completing your degree, you will see the Indian education environment is vastly transformed, very different with the new education policy. It's just been introduced, and of course, it will be implemented over the next few years. And you could, depending on what program you do, be there for 3 to 5 years doing various courses now. So one of the type of universities that the new education policy has said it needs to be established is what are known as highly research-intensive universities. And in other countries, these exist already. For example, in England, there is a group called the Russell Group of Universities, which are highly research-intensive universities. In the case of USA, there are what we call the land-grant universities and Ivy League universities, which are highly research-intensive. And in the case of Australia, there is what we call the Group of 8 universities. So, through us, you can, number one, get a very modern type of education, and number two, you have a passage to get into some of these leading universities because we've got people with the requisite skills to take you there. Number two is the evolution of non-traditional vocational education. So now universities have started to offer degree and higher degree qualifications, including PhDs, in a whole range of non-traditional and vocation-oriented domains. And we do that. You can do a PhD in communication, you can do a PhD in fashion and design, you can do a PhD in hospitality, you can do an undergraduate degree, you can do a master's degree, etc. in areas which were considered to be vocational education previously. And so we have come forward much earlier than several other universities in India to reach this stage. So the proportion of adults in developed countries who have degree level qualifications increased from about 22% in 1975 to more than 40% by the year 2000. So a massive increase in the number of people who have degrees from universities. About 22% to current levels of 40%. However, in the case of India, only 8.3% of people have degree level qualifications. A very small percentage, partly because the population is so high. But what's the biggest challenge is that there is high levels of graduate level unemployment and underemployment in India. So many engineers work at very low salaries or do not get jobs. So there's a lot of underemployment and unemployment in the Indian system, notwithstanding that only 8.3% of people in the country have degree level qualifications. So the main point in this discussion, Professor Fabrice will come in later, that I want you to take back is that you need to note that an institution or a university such as GD Goenka University, through its non-elitist approach to higher education, offers a lot of opportunities for people with marks of 50, 60% to get into a very high quality institution. And that's very, very important. So we do not restrict you just because you did not get that 90% or 95% to come into our university. Because I think restriction to entry should not be the basis of determining the quality of a university. How do we transform you as a student, and how do you get that path to go for higher education, either in India or other places, through learning with us? And that's very important. So we've got a host of vocational disciplines that are offered at undergraduate, postgraduate, and even PhD levels. And these include fashion and design, hospitality and tourism, communication, sociology, architecture and planning, and pharmacy. So that's important. Simplification, making it easy for people to access higher education, is not exclusively a result of demand for growth in vocational education. Not only that, but also because it helps people discover new opportunities for social mobility and also find more interesting jobs. So I think you should stop looking at just traditional offerings such as engineering or management and start to look at possibilities in vocational oriented degree programs. And there are many people who have come to top levels. Like if you go to a university such as Kent in UK, which is a very large and good university, the Vice Chancellor is from a nursing background. She holds a PhD in nursing. So there is avenues for doing many things because vocational education has joined the mainstream of higher education. Another important difference between GD Goenka University and other providers of, say, vocational education would be that our vocational education programs are offered in partnership with leading international universities or with professional bodies, leading professional bodies. So, for example, our fashion and design program, where you can earn an undergraduate degree, a master's degree, or a PhD degree, is in association with the Italy-based Politecnico Milano. So that's a very quick opening. Our hospitality program is in association with Le Cordon Bleu, an institution that had French origins, but now is global. It has got operations in the UK, it's got operations in Australia, it's got operations in many parts of the world. And in regard to association with major industry bodies or professional bodies, for example, our PCOM program is offered in association with the UK-based Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA, the leading UK-based global accountancy and finance association. And most recently, through Professor Tabriz Ahmad's initiatives, we are pursuing an association with the Institute of Company Secretaries of India for law programs. So we have developed these partnerships to enhance the possibilities of employment, enhance your opportunities to make choices in programs rather than focusing on old traditional programs where employment levels are low, which may have become boring. We have addressed these issues through making available these two things. We have also comprehensively made our curriculum highly internationalized, so that if a student wants to move from a first-year program at our university to a foreign university, they can do it seamlessly. They can just move because we have mapped the programs. Sir, what are the best colleges for BTech? BTech? Yes. Where? Mohammad Adnan, what are the best, where? Globally, like Caltech would be one of the top ones. What are the placement statistics? How many companies visited the campus last year? Now, two things. Number one, the placement statistics that we have would be based on interest expressed by students to seek placement through the university. There are many students who just go on to do higher education, a master's level qualification, or those who would go back to their family business to run that. But in terms of placement, if I talk to you in percentage terms, we had 100% placement. We had 100%. On the average, I believe, I'm now guessing a little bit, each student was given at least 3 offers. I'm guessing that. I'm not very sure about that. Do you think our new education policy will bring us close to global education group? And do you think 10 years from now, the people leaving our country for education will reduce and increase? It's a very interesting question, actually very good. I hope, and based on what I've read, the new education policy will bring dramatic changes. But there is a policy. The bigger thing is to implement the policy. And I do not know the pace with which the policy will be implemented. So we've got to wait and see. But it's highly likely that most of the things contained in the new education policy would be implemented by the time you finish your education. Because you will, as I said earlier, you will earn your degree only in 3 years' time, 4 years' time, or 5 years' time, depending on what programs you are doing. Now, would it reduce people going overseas for education? Again, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that it will reduce, because several of the people from India who go for overseas education have got another angle to it, that is to stay on there and work there rather than come back to India. So several people stay on. But it will have some impact. If we develop universities of global standing, and by earning the degree here, if they get an opportunity to get a work abroad, it's likely that this trend of going overseas would decline. So I've answered, that is because, Ila, I've answered your question. I've answered Sagar Yadav's question. And I've somewhat answered Mohammad Adnan's question. Do you want to add something, Professor Tabriz? You must unmute your mic. Please.
When India started the opening its market about the foreign sector and also trying to prioritize the Indian companies. So then we have felt a great need about the globalizing the Indian education model because we have seen the foreign companies coming in India, establishing the market, set up their business, and also likely Indian companies are going to the foreign places setting up their business because India has signed the WTO agreements. And then for the market access, everybody opened the market. So from the 1991, there was a great development happening at the global level that how to provide the international level standard education. And this way, in fact, India has done very well because we have seen that lot of the Indian students got great success in leading the foreign companies in the foreign places. And also we are able to attract a lot of talent from the foreign the places to India. It means that now we have to change our setup and also provide the quality education that was the international standards. This way, GD Goenka University is very successful because we have around 40 country students studying in GD Goenka group. And this way, we are able to provide the proper level playing field for the composite culture, for the sharing their ideas and thoughts, and you can refine your personality of the global standing. This way, I think the great development has taken place, and also in the new education policy, the government of India has agreed to allow the foreign universities opening the their kind of the branches in the country. I think this is a great development because it will be providing the kind of very positive competition, and people will try to develop their standards to compete with the foreign universities. This will be leading a very healthy competition. I think in future we can also see a lot of Indian universities will be coming at par with the foreign universities, and this way I think we can see the great development happening in the future. What I see, the lot of requirements are there on the occasional courses right now because what I've seen earlier, we are not focused about the employment part. We are just mostly focusing on the classroom based education. Just spoon feeding was happening. So I think slowly we are very fast turning to see the kind of the employability of the student who are passing out, and they are have to be very well suited up the market requirement because the way market is changing, we require a lot of technical hands to go and take the job and also try to make the innovations. And this way also we have to change the teaching learning process where we can really develop the innovations among the student. They will become more innovative and they can create new thoughts, new processes, because we have to be very creative. This way I think the changing of the curriculum is very important to make it the market ready graduates who can take up the job, and also once they will go to the market, they will be trying to do lot of innovations. If you see about the global level regarding the IPR ownership, India is not doing very well as IPR ownership because almost all the top class chemicals, technology, the products mostly belong to the multinational companies. They are mostly have their offices in the foreign setup. This way, I think if we change our model, if we are going to produce more innovative students, more innovative professionals, more creative professionals, they will be going to create new technology. They will be changing the process. They will get more IPRs. This way, even India can also start exporting the products and get lot of incentive from the foreign countries. This will also help the balance of payments. So I think this is a great time India is having that we got new education policy, and now we have to work out that how we're going to implement that policy, make it really very workable. These are my thoughts, I think, Suku. And also something somebody has asked about the this regarding the admission in the law program. So already the admissions are started, is going on. We are just waiting for the government signal. We can start the classes immediately. Most probably, I think September, maybe we are going to start the classes, not only law, but all the 13 schools in GD Goenka University. Thank you, Suku. You can take up further.
Yeah, I think that's fairly comprehensive. Just that I will talk to this later. But do not be so disturbed about the studies being done online. Later, if there's time, I will talk to this, because actually there's no difference. There are many other modalities of getting a book education, not purely based on face-to-face interaction. You must not be overly concerned that COVID-19 and the lack of face-to-face interaction is a big disadvantage. No, it is not. Mohammed Adnan. Yes, very much so, Mohammed Adnan. I believe very strongly that the path through vocational education will provide greater employment opportunities. Shekhar, I think we can move on to the next question.
So there are questions about the different realms and facets of law which are going to be coming up in the future. There's a question about Surabhi.
That's from Surabhi, isn't it? If it's from Surabhi, Professor Tabriz has answered that just now.
All right, sir. So we have another question about the higher degree courses and the vocational courses and their impact, the possible impact that they can have on the employment opportunities that will be generated.
I just answered that. I believe employment opportunities are fabulous for individuals with degree level qualifications, especially in the vocational areas such as hospitality and fashion and design and architecture and planning, etc. These will grow very well.
I think somebody was asking question about the chances for the employment and growth of the legal development in the legal profession. It's one of the fast growing area right now, because the way market is changing, we require really very quality lawyers, and also we require the people who can not only just do the kind of litigation, also they will just like the advisors, they'll be just like the kind of the counselors, they also be just like the kind of person doing non-litigation business, because the way market is changing in the corporate world, we do not feel that always you have to go and argue in the court of law. There are a lot of works are there outside the court. That's why a lawyer will be requiring a lot of skill. If you see earlier days, you are just having few skills, fine. But not only legal field, but also almost all the fields require a lot of skills. Now the question is that how we are going to inculcate those skills in the students. Even in fact, all the professional courses, whether engineering or management or medical science or maybe humanities and law, all these fields. Because I just mentioned in my earlier this sharing that we mostly focused on the spoon feeding and just imparting the knowledge, not connected to the industry. Now the time has come that we have to have cutting edge industry oriented curriculum and also the teaching learning process. In the coming days, day by day, the skill requirements are growing. If you see earlier days, if you go back to 30 years, it was 1 or 2, 3 skills were fine to get success in the market. But currently, you, I think, require more and more skill, and this requirement will be go on growing. In coming days, you require more skills. Now, the question is that how the teaching learning process, pedagogy, and the curriculum of the universities and colleges will be fully refined to make it cutting edge. That's why Goenka University is very concerned about this curriculum and also pedagogy. We always link to the market, and what we do a lot of survey. We see how the market is growing and where the gaps are there. So if you go and talk to the lot of companies who are the entrepreneurs who are actually running the lot of businesses and also trying to venture new areas, they always feel there are a lot of gap. If you see the requirement of the professional and those who are passing out, now the question is that how to produce employable graduates, because employable means not today. When somebody is taking admission today, he is seeing the market after 4 or 5 years. So that's why we have to be always ahead that how the market is shaping. And we know that the market is shaping very strongly in the sense of the technology, because the way market is taken over by the social media, artificial intelligence and blockchain technology, sometimes we are worried that some of the things what we were supposed to do by human being is taken over by the machine. And machine is going to be very, very fast becoming intelligent. And also sometimes machines started innovating. Even the debates are going on that can we really go for IPR protection to the machines to the AI, they can also hold the IPRs. So my point is that that's why there is no big challenge for human being how to keep pace with the changing time, and also how to try to utilize the machines to save their quality times and invest where there also human intervention is required. So this way, I think the knowledge of technology and use of technology very, very important. And also what we see that shortly that the blockchain is taking over. So blockchain technology is a distributed ledger technology, because currently we run by the centralized model. But the blockchain technology, what I realized that in the COVID period, in fact, everybody has tested the blockchain model in real sense. Even this today's webinar we are doing in the online mode. If suppose consider it was happening at the physical mode, everybody should have been at one place, and the kind of money, the kind of transportation, time, energy, if you see commercially, it was very high. But see, right now everybody is sitting at their own places, and we are able to really communicate and also exchange our ideas. And if you compare the cost benefit analysis, this is one of the most suited way of communication, and this is the whole idea of the blockchain model. So what I see that blockchain is going to take over a lot of areas, and also because blockchain in this technology you can track how the things are flowing. For example, if you see you are a producer, you want to sell your products. Currently it is very challenging to track that how many hands have changed your product to reach the final consumer. But because of blockchain technology, you can track how your products are moving from your the company to the final consumer. Same way, if you see about the land records, currently there are a lot of land sold 3, 4, 5 times. You are not able to manage that who are the real owner, who are the first owner, who are the last owner. But if you use the blockchain technology in the land record management, you can easily track. Same way, because of the blockchain we have seen the cryptocurrency. Because if you see about the online medium, the real challenge is the payment and how to make the online payment. So we have seen the payments happening in the by credit cards, by debit cards. Then we have seen the online payments. We have seen the now the era of the kind of the cryptocurrencies there. Now we have seen this a lot of things are coming. So in future, the way of doing business, decentralization, work done by the AI, blockchain technology, and also the 5G technology. Once the 5G is coming, we have seen a lot of database management challenges. Now the management of data will be a big challenge. And then currently we see that who has the kind of the more oil, gas, and the iron steel is going to be the billionaire or market leader. Now it is changing. Now we are saying that who are going to have more data, he is going to be the market leader, because data is new oil and refined data is refined oil. So the way market is changing, I think we have to think seriously about changing the pedagogy, teaching, learning process. And we are very active being the private university. We have liberty to change our syllabus curriculum every semester to make it really cutting edge to produce the employable graduates. And being the kind of lot of collaboration with the foreign university industry collaborations, we always have the prior information that where the market is moving and how we can train our students and faculty to impart the quality education. I think this way we are trying to do very well, and also being the one of the pioneer university and also very good location, because Delhi always the better place and NCR is better place to do kind of any education, to do any internship for the employment. So even a locational benefit we have right now, because being in the Delhi NCR, anybody joining our university will be able to have very easily talking to the universities, going to the internship. May also we can do Saturday, Sunday kind of the any occasional training and job. So this way you will be always getting a lot of advantage. I think Suku, you may like to add some points.
Yeah, I will add something to what you had said, which is a very important and very useful point. And students, you must listen to me very carefully here, because I think there were some questions to this as well. Now, I believe technology and international engagement in higher education will comprehensively transform things. Course content will change, teaching learning practices will change, rubrics for assessment will change, and research endeavors will change. Now, increasingly, we talk of the world, and I'm happy that we at GD Goenka University have been at the forefront and have introduced the changes that I'm going to speak to now. We've started introducing the changes I'm going to speak to now. Increasingly, major universities adopt two pedagogies that are learning-centric as opposed to teaching-centric. There is evidence that this approach has vastly improved student learning experiences and outcomes. In contrast, until recently, most of our institutions in India was primarily focused on the lecture mode of providing teaching. This is based on a chalk and talk process, as we call it, or you have advanced with whiteboard and markers of different colors that you use, or the use of PowerPoint presentations. And frequently those PowerPoint presentations come from the instructor's manual. And the professor may add some video clips to supplement what he or she is saying in the classroom. There is ample evidence that this type of engagement with the student does not produce good learning experience and the development of higher order learning skills. That was a published alluded to that. And higher order learning skills are essentially the ability to synthesize knowledge, the ability to analyze knowledge, the ability to review knowledge, the ability to critique knowledge, the ability to reason, the ability to comprehend, the ability to apply and evaluate knowledge through drawing on your own personal experiences and contextualizing the discussion. So you see, there's lots of very higher order skills that a university could provide. And I'll repeat, these are the ability to synthesize, analyze, review, critique, reason, comprehend, apply, and evaluate. And these are the skill sets that you need in the modern world. It's not just facts, because you can Google and get facts. Right? You can take a textbook and read and get the facts. So you must move from this fact-based rote learning and this chalk and talk process of class engagement to much higher levels of engagement. Now, to address these challenges, top-tier international universities have introduced changes to pedagogy, how you deliver the course, and also to rubric, how you assess. I'll speak to some of these and showcase how we at Goenka have adopted some of these contemporary teaching learning practices. A contemporary teaching learning practice that is much discussed today is what we call blended learning. This is a combination of online learning and face-to-face learning. So you don't have to go completely down the path of face-to-face learning. It can be a mix of the both. The online learning includes lectures, video games, including simulations, podcasts, online reading material, and other assignments. Students are given the opportunity to access these online components through a learning management system, an LMS, and we are using Google Classroom as our LMS. Some universities have used some other modes, but many universities have not even introduced an LMS. Many universities in India have not even introduced a learning management. In the blended approach, online learning does not recreate traditional face-to-face class engagement. Instead, the two methods are used correspondingly to create a full and inclusive learning experience. And that's what we are currently doing. We are blending the two so that you get a better learning experience as opposed to just lectures, talk and talk, PowerPoint presentations, etc. It goes much beyond that. We use two approaches to it. Another mode of engagement that we have now is we are beginning to adopt flipped classroom. This is another very interesting concept in teaching learning, and some of our programs will start to introduce it, and increasingly we'll introduce more of that. So, flipped classroom is the reverse mode of delivery, as opposed to traditional, as compared to face-to-face teaching and learning. Traditional form of class engagement is through reading, through watching, and absorbing learning material in class. And students are asked to go home and complete assignments or do some tasks. In a flipped learning classroom, we prepare audio or video lectures for students to watch at home at their own pace and on their own time. Then the time in the class is spent on working through the concepts delivered online with the guidance of an instructor. Complementary to all of this engagement in the online mode is we use again an LMS, in this case Google Classroom, where students and academic staff can engage with each other. So we give you the material you read, and the class discussions should be based on that, as opposed to just listening and reading in the class. We make you do that at home, and we work with you in developing your higher order skills of how do you analyze, review, critique, synthesize knowledge. So this learning, there's been lots of research in this. It's been very beneficial. You'll be better prepared for the workplace than if you adopt a chalk and talk or a whiteboard marker and different types of markers and overhead projector. We have gone far beyond that. Okay?
Also, Suku, I think we have a lot of focus about the activity-based learning process.
Yeah.
Because unless you utilize your skills, you cannot refine the skills. So we believe in a lot of activities. We organize regular events in the classroom, and also we do intra-college events. Also, we do international events. Recently, we have organized the first virtual international food court competition on a very advanced area of the 7G technology. And we are very happy to share that we have the 3 foreign teams participated, and also all the top law schools of the country participated. And that was in the virtual mode, and also the entire proceeding was in the online mode. Every student were actually were at the different parts of the country, and also the foreign countries. This is where their location, but we organize efficient kind of the activity. This way, they are able to do a lot of research. They are able to present. They have to face judges, and also they have seen how the other law schools are doing. So this is one of the examples that how we are very active in engaging the students. Not only our internal student, also the outside the law student, and also other student, to engage them in the learning process. So we are purely activity-based learning, because once you got the theoretical knowledge, you should know how to apply that knowledge. Once you go for application process, then you will find out some of the gaps, and then further you utilize and further improve yourself. And also we are very active about the internship. We believe that unless and until you go every year to the industry and see what is the culture in the industry, what is the kind of you require a professionalism, you require the languages, you know the culture of the industry. So this way, I think we are not only focusing in the kind of the one of the best curriculum, best pedagogy, that application-based teaching learning process. We do a lot of activities where you get a platform to showcase your skills, refine your skills, and then you also go to industry for internship, where you will be going to apply your knowledge and see that how industry is reacting, whether the knowledge imparted in the classroom is relevant to industry or not. You come back after the internship from the industry, and again you just fill up the gaps. This way, if you do 3, 4 years, 5 years, before passing out, you are fully market ready. Because in the internship, we try to send the student to different kind of the places. So one aspect is that you are going to learn the professional skill, plus you learn the attitude, personality. And the second thing is that you know your flavor. If you go 3, 4 times to different industries, you will be very happy to know your flavor. And if you know your flavor, in that case, if you join that place, it's just like a hobby. You will be enjoying your working place. This way, I think we are acting very effectively to provide somebody a proper knowledge, proper kind of the platform to showcase the skill, and also not only imparting the professional skill, also the lifelong skill. Because you should also have very positive attitude, you should have very good kind of thought process. Because unless and until you should have a very good human being, you cannot become very good success in the entire lifetime period. So there are a lot of focus is also there on your attitude building, your personality building, your communication ability, your languages. We also impart the knowledge of the foreign languages, because somebody may be willing to join a foreign multinational company, and the company want to place in UK or US or China or Dubai, and then you require the importance of the knowledge of the foreign languages. So we also focus on the foreign languages, because you can then plan your kind of the track, that how you want to grow in the career, how you want to join the foreign company, and then you will be free to work at any part of the world. So knowing the international culture of the working in the industry, the kind of requirement of your attitude and personality is also very, very important. And this you can develop during the activities. If you do an activity, you will be learning how to manage the particular event, how to coordinate, how to do networking, and how to make good friends. And also then you should know that where is the standing of other university student and where I am standing. This way I think we are very active and provide a holistic approach to the entire process. So somebody joining our university and then once he's passing out in after 4 or 5 years, he is a fully market ready product. So this is our story, this is our philosophy to run and how to refine and how to guide somebody to become a very good professional. So we may like to add some points.
I think that's very valid and good point. Yeah? You must remember that education readies you for work. Right? And if you look at the environment that we are working in today, it's highly internationalized. Right? From about the 1980s, we started to hear of words like offshoring, outsourcing, hybrid products. So for a car, for example, Mercedes-Benz, for example, the brand name is only German, but the gears might come from South Africa, the seats might come from China, whatever. It's many countries working together to create a product. Right? And also the more developed countries liberalized trade and also migration regimes. They started to accept foreigners going there to work, etc. There's been a lot of cross-border movement across borders, across countries. There's been a lot of movement of people, products, technology, and capital. Therefore, it's a very well-connected global workplace we are in. And because of that, we need to have education that prepares us for this global environment. So we need to internationalize our courses, which we have done at Goenka. We have to deliver some foreign degree programs and allow people that ability to transition from our degrees to the foreign degrees. And I spoke to them after 1 year doing with us. Can you go on and join the second year of some university in England or USA with us? Many of the programs you can do that because we have mapped the courses and we have provided this capability to move from the program with us on to a foreign university, provided you earn the right marks, conditional to you having completed your course sufficiently well in the first year to move to the second year elsewhere. We have got what we call, that's called articulation arrangements. Over and above that, we've got a program where we encourage our students on study abroad programs. We encourage them to go and spend 1 semester in a partner institution, and we give credits for the time they've spent, and they come back to us and we award the degree at GD Goenka University. What else can I say? Yeah. So these are the main ways in which we engage. So what you got to recognize, comprehensively understand is that it's a global village now. Sometimes the brand names of products don't mean anything. They are integrated through products from different countries. Service work is sent off to other locations. You manufacture in one location, you do your R&D in another location. So there is a lot of activities that are comprehensively global. And to be ready for the global workplace, you must be at a place where the teaching, learning, the syllabus, etc. conforms to or prepares you to be ready for this workplace. And we have been doing that for several years. For example, we had a partnership with Lancaster University. Over 10 years, we were delivering their degree program in engineering and management in India. But because of the regulatory environment, we could not continue with that any longer. And that's changing now. With the new education policy, that's changing. But I don't see foreign universities rushing to India in the next few years. It could take a long time to set up offshore campus. It could take a very long time. You have to put up your buildings, you have to recruit high quality staff, and we are short as a nation on good quality academic staff. They've got to be trained in the way to deliver these programs because the approaches are comprehensively different to what we have in India. The only difference being a university such as us have had a head start. We have done this for about 10 years internationally, and right now with the university we've got lots of good partnerships, and we engage with them very well to deliver these programs that are useful in a global work environment. As opposed to exclusively India, it's applicable, or it becomes useful in a global workplace. That's important, and that's how you make choices of where you want to study, you've got to make choices of what you want to study, etc. So don't cling yourself too much to very traditional causes. Look at what may seem to be newer causes, and also see what the syllabus is, how is it taught, by whom is it taught, do they have enough academics with the requisite exposure, training, etc., or are these people who are delivering courses based on what is in the textbook or through using a PowerPoint which is drawn from an instructor's manual. We have gone far beyond that level. Okay. I think we are very close to time's up now. 2:56. Just Pooja want to address anything? Your mic is muted. That's it. Yeah.
So we do a lot of focus on the sports activities because we feel that unless you get a lot of chances to explore your personality and also try to relax, and also renewed energy is required for you for the next day. So we have very sprawling campus in the Sona Road in Gurgaon, and also we have half Olympic size swimming pool, we have a riding club, and almost all the sports facilities, very green campus. So if you see infrastructure wise, we are one of the best campus in the country, and you'll get a lot of chances to explore your sports activities, explore your hobbies, because we feel that being the student, you should get a chance to breathe the fresh air and also try to rejuvenate yourself for the classes. And also we do a lot of very nicely Suku mentioned that regarding the mobility program. Already we have signed the agreement with a lot of foreign universities for mobility programs. So you will get the chance to go and do one semester to the foreign universities. This way it will further enhance your personality, further enhance your understanding about the world. If you go to foreign universities, you see students from the different parts of the world, you see their culture, their traditions, their attitude, their personality. This will be definitely helping you develop a composite culture, and once you go for the employment to a foreign company, you will not feel that you are some new place. You're able to properly adjust yourself, properly you will understand the culture of the company. So this way, I think being in India and also going to the foreign university for one semester exchange or so mobility program, you get further chance to build up your CV and further raise your standards as a person, as a professional, and also as a human being. So these are the very good opportunities in GD Goenka University. We are at par with any foreign universities, and also see the campus is very neat and clean and green. And also we have a lot of very good facility in the hostel. We recently have subscribed a lot of online journals. We believe that this is the era of the online journal remote access. So you may be any part of the world, but you'll be able to access our library. You will get a lot of chance to have very updated online journals. So your learning will never stop. You can learn in the mobile phone, you will learn in the travel, you will learn at your hostel, anywhere. So we are always trying to provide cutting edge, very strong resources in the library, because library is a laboratory for any good student. And unless you get updated knowledge, you will not be able to at par with any other student. So this way, I think, because see, there's always challenge about the latest products, but thanks to the online model, now currently because of the online system, you always get very updated immediate material, and that is always available mostly in the subscribed journals. If you go to Google in open source, you may not have any guarantee about that the material is updated or foolproof, because you can go to Wikipedia. You get a lot of material, but it is no guarantee it is truth. So that's why we believe in the subscribed journals, and also we have subscribed a lot of good quality journals, provide remote access. So your learning will never stop. Whether you are in the campus or attending classes from your house, you will get access to the online journals. So this way, it is additional advantage to you for you joining our university, because you will get always faculty available for online classes. You can always talk to them, discuss with them. We have also a lot of mentor-mentee model. So we believe in the mentorship. So we have given a few students to one faculty as a mentor for any issues, you can always approach to your mentor. He is the first person to take up your queries and help you, not only for the professional issues but also your personal issues, daily kind of the activities, and he will be just like guide, and he will also grow with you. For example, somebody is joining this year, he will be given a mentor, and the mentor will continue till the person passing out. So for next 4-5 years, the person, the faculty is there. He is always helping you 24/7 for any problem. So this is kind of just like we are your de facto parents, and you can believe us and you can trust us that you will be given all kind of support, be professional, be personal, your placement, your internship, your teaching learning process. And so we have a lot of special support, kind of as a kind of additional classes for those students who are weaker. So those for weaker students, we have a strategy to provide additional support. So this way, I think we are very open, very transparent, and we are always a student-friendly system, that we believe that we are for you and we will always guide you to become a good professional. I think Dr. Suku, you may like to add, or maybe wind up by your thoughts here.
Yeah, I will just build on what you said. Sporting activities are very good, but there is also a purpose of a different purpose, an additional purpose rather, for sporting activities in universities or learning environments. Number one is an activity where you work together with people. So when you play a game, you've got to work cohesively with your classmates. But we also encourage, we've got a lot of social projects, community projects, where you go out and work in the poorer neighborhoods, work with certain organizations that are for charitable organizations. And again, you work in groups, work together. And we also have, which I think not many universities have, we have foreign students from good universities. Like just before the COVID lockdown, there were 20 students from the University of Cincinnati who were supposed to have come to the Goenka University and work with our students in academics for a community project in one of the villages nearby. But unfortunately, because of the COVID, that could not run. But the thing is that an experience such as that, working with someone coming from a foreign country, and number two, working together on a project, builds a lot of competencies. You learn how to work with people, how to work in teams, how to share work, and you become a more wholly developed person as opposed to a person who just knows facts. It's much more than that. Today's learning environment is far more different to that.
So then we request, if anybody has any further queries, they can ask. If any participant has any query, he can write on the screen. I think so there is no further query.
So you don't have any questions to ask, any further questions? If you do not have, then we will close it. Okay? Close.
I think Dr. Suku, you can provide the concluding remarks, then we can close the. If you want to say something.
My concluding remarks will be a summation of what has been said here. That the world is moving very rapidly. The world is becoming very integrated. There are people, there are capital, that is resources moving across countries. And therefore, you must learn how to work in this globally connected world. And increasingly, a university such as us are applying technology and good quality technology in the teaching learning environment. And we are focused on not purely a rote learning environment where you have markers and whiteboards and PowerPoint presentations. No, we go far beyond that in engaging with the students through flipped classrooms and other modes of engagement that develops their skills much better. So we have combined technology and face-to-face interaction very well, and you'll be a better person out there. And also, we have a large number of courses which are vocation-oriented, and even those vocation-oriented courses you can do right up to a PhD level, and therefore we are not close to just providing management, engineering, or law qualifications, which is good, but you also get a choice to explore other types of qualifications that may be more useful in the fast, rapidly changing work environment.